light has happened in the darkness. In other words, something happened. Something happened 2,000 years ago. Wherever you are in the faith spectrum, what we're acknowledging is dark and light. I'm not trying to convince you otherwise where you should be in the faith spectrum, but all I'm asking, particularly if you're not a follower of this light, Jesus, how do you songs we're here, we're worshipping him, we're talking about him. Something happened. Christ, the Saviour, was born. That's why we celebrate Christmas. Dark and then light. Dark and then light. And look, enough of the theology, because I tell you what, this year as a preacher and as a pastor, we've needed less of the theology. In fact, the real sermons and the real messages that have been happening in this place this year have not been spoken, but they have been lived. And I've witnessed that as your pastor, Northside, to see people who have walked friends' children around the block during lockdown so a mum doesn't go stir crazy. I've seen people here who have gone around and invited every member of their apartment block to brunch. We've seen people here who have not turned up to church and we thought we'd lost them, only to discover that they've been serving in soup kitchens the entire time. We've seen whole wads of families doing all sorts of crazy things on means like Facebook and all the rest of it, and parents getting inherently competitive with all that they're doing in order just to cheer one another up. And we're reminded when it comes to light that the one that we worship, Jesus, said, you are the light of the world. And so, in many ways, our light is a little bit dimmer here from what I've remembered in my 13 years of doing ministry. Let's be real, it's just weird and awkward. Never has this church seen such a dim service in that way, but in many ways, the service here tonight is dim because so many of you are out there, scattered. Oh, fireflies, little lights in the darkness. And that's what every one of you are, Northside, particularly as we come to Christmas Day tomorrow, and as many of you I know have scuttled plans because borders have shut and you haven't been able to see loved ones as planned. Many of you are feeling downhearted because this year hasn't turned out the way that you've thought about it. Many of you felt anxious because there are still uncertainties around the corner as we head into 2021. But the reality is the world is a dark place this Christmas, and yet you take that light into wherever you go. Yes, even you of the northern beaches who are in lockdown. I would say Northsiders this year continue to be fireflies, light in the darkness, as families talk about all that this year has represented for them, as some of them share the pains and the hurts and all that they've been through them. At least around Sydney, there will be a couple of hundred firefly, wherever it might be, shining their light. Dark, then light. Dark, then light. So what will you do with that light this Christmas? On one hand, you can receive the light if you're not yet a follower of Jesus. Look, life's hard. We get it. Life's tough. It's just...